It is week 5. Now, last week, when it was week 4, I think I refrained from saying the class is half over, but that's not going to keep me from refraining saying this week, the class is more than half over. We're hit the hump and we're headed down the other side. Now, week 5 is an important week, as all weeks are important, but particularly it's important because your rough draft is due. I will be posting tips and suggestions on the rough draft later in the week, so be sure to read them, as there will be no resubmissions of the rough draft. And there are a couple of reasons for this, and I'm not going to go into them in this video, but I want you to do as well as you possibly can, so take my suggestions into account. Now, week 5 is all about the hero. Last week, we discussed gender archetypes and how myth has influenced how we perceive gender in the modern world. And this week, it's more of a male aspect in the quest of the hero. But I do want you to consider, are female, do females go on quest? And if they do, are they different from male quest? And how are they different? Also, as you are reading the information and preparing for the final draft, one of the aspects of both the rough and the final draft is how the myth has evolved over the ages and how it affects our perceptions in modern times. And so consider how the aspect of the hero has changed since ancient times to modern times. For example, I often read students talk about the hero, and they will say that the hero in ancient myth was altruistic and was trying to help others. And this simply is not accurate. That's how we tend to think of heroes in the modern world, but that is not necessarily a component of a hero in an ancient myth. And I'm going to start at the beginning right now and discuss how that applies and how the myth has come forward through time. And the oldest piece of literature, extant piece of literature in the world, is the Epic of Gilgamesh. And this is also the first heroic quest. Gilgamesh started it all in writing, but there is no doubt that the aspects of the quest existed before Gilgamesh was written down. Gilgamesh goes on a quest, and it is a quest for immortality. He wants to live forever. He doesn't care if anybody else lives forever. His friend Enkidu has already died, can't bring him back to life. And that is the reason why he goes on the quest for immortality, is because he talked to Enkidu in the underworld, and the underworld was a horrible place where the dead drink dust and eat clay. And Gilgamesh said, I don't want to go there. So he wanted to become immortal. And again, he went on the quest to find out Utnapishtim, who, according to Gilgamesh sources, is the only mortal who was ever granted immortality. And so he goes through a lot of obstacles, finally finds Utnapishtim. Utnapishtim tells him the story of the flood, and we covered the flood a few weeks ago, and tells him how he can become immortal. He has to find an elixir. He finds the elixir, loses it to a snake, and then has to resign himself to the fact that he is going to die. And remember, in Sumeria and many other mythoi and other cultures, even gods die. Inanna dies. Dionysus dies. Even though Dionysus is an Olympian and really shouldn't die, he does die, but he's resurrected. In Norse myth, Balder dies. So Gilgamesh set that standard of some aspects of the heroic quest, including having a sidekick, having a tragic flaw, obviously going on the journey, being part mortal, part deity, and a couple of others as well. But Gilgamesh was not altruistic. He wasn't out to save all of humanity and let all of humans become immortal, only for himself. Now, some of the most commonly known heroes are in Greek myth. There's Theseus, Perseus, and some others as well. These heroes it was kind of a mixture of some altruism and personal gain. For example, when Theseus goes to Crete to fight the Minotaur, it is to stop the tribute of Athenian girls, young men and women, I should say, not girls and boys, going to Crete to be sacrificed to the Minotaur. So he's going to stop that, but he's also doing it for personal glory. And his actions after defeating the Minotaur are not really what we would consider gentlemanly aspects. For example, he abandons Ariadne on an island after she helped him defeat the Minotaur. So heroes, as we think of them in the modern world, are not necessarily the same as they are in the ancient world. So keep that in mind as you are reading and writing about the hero. And we do have a discussion about the hero. And again, heroes have changed. Today, we call people who rescue cats heroes. Women are heroes. We even call dogs heroes because they rescue people. But strictly speaking, dogs aren't heroes, and the ancients would not see rescuing cats as being heroic. There are the steps of the hero's quest, and Joseph Campbell was the one who popularized these steps and actually categorized them, for lack of a better word. And in his book, A Hero with a Thousand Faces, he discusses how all of these heroes in all of these cultures are the same hero because they go through the same steps. And he called this the monomyth. But he leaves out women. Jung also discusses this somewhat, and Jung predates Campbell. And even Jung admitted later in life that he had kind of ignored myths that are specifically about women. And he said, he kind of explained this by saying, I'm a man, and so therefore I examine the male myths. Well, I do see women as going on quest. Demeter does. When she is looking for Persephone, she is on a quest, but is a different type of quest than the quest of Gilgamesh, Perseus, Theseus, and other deities and mortals and other mythos in other cultures. Mythoi, I should say, in other cultures. Okie doke, I'm going to stop rambling at this point. Be sure to read the information that is below this video, and I will see you on the discussion board, and I'm looking forward to discussing the hero and the hero's quest.